Every year, millions of families make one of the biggest college decisions of their lives. Some spend 50k, 100k, and now there are people willing to spend 400k. The strange part isn't the price, is that nobody can agree that if it's actually worth it anymore. Ask your parents. They'll tell you college is the safest investment you'll ever make. And ask a billionaire, he might tell you it's the stupidest decision you'll ever make. Ask the internet, you'll find thousands of people absolutely convinced that degree is dead. But who's right? Let's start with the billionaire. Because he's not just talking. Peter Thiel's fellowship program gives young people $250,000 over 2 years to pursue ambitious ideas instead of following the traditional college path. The same amount of money a person spends to walk in, another gets paid to walk out. And sure, that proves what every other creator on YouTube has been screaming all year. Degree's dead, college is a scam, go build something instead. But here's the part that nobody actually says out loud. Every single person telling you that is also selling you something. A course, a coaching program, an app, or a college that isn't really a college. So before I tell you what to believe, you should know where I'm coming from. I'm Nikesh and I'm 18. And a few months ago, I turned down some of the world's top undergrad business schools for one college that's built around entrepreneurship and real world experience. So this isn't a video from someone who's trying to defend the traditional system, but it's also not a video from someone who's trying to tear it down. I just wanted to answer one simple question. Is traditional college actually worth it anymore? Even though the syllabus feels outdated, and even though the degree doesn't promise you a job anymore, parents still want you to go to a college. But why? It's not that parents don't know about the outcome. Families take loans, they sold jewelry, they are working overtime just to send their kids to college. And they trusted it because they could repay it once they get a good job. A degree took a kid from a small town to a big city, a rented room to a home of his own, from being his family's biggest worry to their greatest pride. Picture a family that spent years saving just for one letter that says yes. When that letter finally comes, they don't just see an acceptance, they see safety. That's why college almost became a status quo to households. And for decades, that belief is not wrong. College was valuable to parents back then because it was selling two things they really cared about. One is access, another is proof. Firstly, access. Back then, knowledge was behind closed doors. So there was no YouTube teaching you finance in 10 minutes, no Google, no free online courses, and no ChatGPT, of course. So if you wanted to access to world-class education, there was only one place to go: college. College wasn't just a building. It was where knowledge lived. The libraries, laboratories, professors, ideas, and people from completely different backgrounds all united in one place. For a teenager from a small town, it feels like stepping into a whole new world. Along with access, college gave you proof. Imagine you're hiring thousands of people. Everyone says they're smart, everyone says they're hardworking, everyone says just trust me. But you solely can't bet a company on trust. You need a filter, you need a signal, you need a shortcut. That shortcut was a degree. Not perfect, but good enough. If someone spent 4 years earning that degree, it proved they showed up, learned, and stuck with something for 4 years. For companies, that was a pretty good bet. It became a stamp of credibility. You weren't just paying to learn, you're paying for society to believe in you. And for decades, that system made sense. The economy ran on expertise. Engineers, doctors, lawyers, scientists. You can't YouTube your way into becoming a surgeon, and you can't argue your way into becoming a lawyer. So, no, college was not always a scam. The world needed real specialists. So colleges became the factories that produced them. And slowly but surely, society built an entire ladder around that idea. Go to school, then go to a college, then get a degree, then get a job, and get a good salary and lead a stable life. And for decades, that ladder worked exactly as promised. But then, the world changed. The internet arrived, knowledge stopped living inside classrooms. Opportunities are more abundant, but the degree didn't become useless overnight. Something worse happened. Families are paying today's price for a system that was built for yesterday's world. 3 massive shifts changed everything, and they all happened at once. The first shift, knowledge. Today, an 18-year-old from anywhere around the world can almost learn anything. Be it coding from engineers at top tech companies, learning investing 101 from successful investors, delve into filmmaking from award-winning creators, hear about psychology from leading researchers, and even educate themselves about entrepreneurship from proven founders who have actually built billion-dollar businesses, all for free, without ever stepping into a classroom. Just pause and think about that. For most of history, access to such people was incredibly rare. You had to be in the right university, in the right city, learning from the right professor. But today, they're all just one click away. And the AI revolution pushes that even further. Today, an AI tutor doesn't care if you topped your class or failed your exams. It will practically teach you anything, regardless of whether you have asked for the first or 15th time, and keep teaching you until you get it. So, what exactly are families still paying for? Right after knowledge became free, AI quietly redefined something far more important: the second shift, work. And this one should worry you more. AI can now write content, build presentations, and summarize research in 10 minutes that previously used to take a whole day. And every few months, it keeps getting better. But that's where the problem arises. Colleges move slowly. While curriculums change every few years, AI changes in every few weeks. Let that sink in. You're entering a system that's designed to prepare you for the future. However, at this moment, the future is changing faster than the system itself. Now, here's where most people get it wrong. They ask, is AI going to replace my job? Probably not, because history tells us that every major technological breakthrough creates that same fear factor. People said factories would take away jobs during the industrial era. Then they said computers would replace office workers. Then they said internet would destroy entire industries. While some jobs did disappear as a matter of fact, what actually happened was much bigger. It automated repetitive tasks, created entirely new industries, and changed the skills that employers value. AI is now doing the same thing. It's going for the easiest jobs first. And those are probably the jobs you're studying at university right now. An analyst role, a fresher role as a web developer, a marketing associate, and the ones that are meant to get you into the system. AI is changing the entry-level jobs that graduates have relied on for decades. And when this AI can perform many of those beginner-level tasks, employers can no longer assume that a degree alone proves you're capable enough. Which leads us to the third shift, proof. Employers still care about degrees, but they care more about what you can actually do with it. Do you have skills? Do you have projects? Do you have any proof of work? That's what matters. Today, a founder can build a company without an MBA. A filmmaker can get noticed because of one viral short film. A salesperson can close real clients and let revenue speak louder than his credentials. A writer can build an audience through newsletters or blogs before ever joining a newsroom. So, does that mean degrees are dead? No, that's too simple. And simple answers are usually what people sell you when they want your attention. For licensed paths like medicine, law, and research, degrees matter a lot. But in many of the other fields, its role is questionable. Most people think college is selling education. It never was. It is selling access. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. When a family pays for college, they are buying 3 types of accesses. And most people can only name one. First one is access to people. Your classmates could become your co-founders. Your seniors can refer you for internships. Professors, alumni, and peers all become a part of your network. Second, you get access to the quality environment. Your surroundings shape your ambition. If everyone around you is only studying for exams, that's all you'll think about. If people around you are building startups, joining competitions, and chasing big goals, your definition of what's possible expands. Third, access to opportunities, internships, mentors, startup incubators, research projects, guest lectures. These opportunities are easier to find when you're already inside an ecosystem. Not because a degree guarantees you success, but because it gets you through the first gate. Even though it's 2026, even though there are more colleges, more degrees, and more options than ever before, nobody has actually settled the debate. So instead of arguing about the future, some people started building it. The reality is that traditional colleges isn't the only model anymore. A new generation of colleges are asking a different question. What if you learned by actually doing? One of them is called TETR, where the real world becomes your campus with no fixed classrooms. Instead, the students get to build businesses across different countries with people around the world. It's a completely different route. And in a few minutes, you'll hear why I decided to take that route. But before I tell you why, let me answer this question about college being worth it in the most compelling way possible. For me, it's a yes and a no. For pursuing medicine, law, science, and architecture, you need a legally recognized degree. No online course can give you a medical license, and no startup project can replace a raw degree. That's not my opinion. That's how the system works. But if your future is around entrepreneurship, content, tech, and sales, everything changes. For many of these careers, nobody really cares where you studied or what fancy degree you carry. They care about proof of work. What you've built, who you've worked with, and how quickly you learn. Information is everywhere, but access to the right people, the right environment, and the right opportunities is quite rare. And sometimes, that access is worth far more than any lecture alone. Which brings me back to my college decision. A question had been sitting in my mind since I was 16. Could I actually build something from zero? A traditional college probably wouldn't have answered that question. I need to wait for 4 years of lectures, assignments, and curriculum to be completed. I didn't want to wait, so I chose TETR. Not because it promised a magical shortcut, but because it promised learning by building. Instead of only studying how businesses work, I'm expected to start one. Instead of waiting for graduation to gain experience, the experience begins alongside the learning process. Every conversation with a new customer teaches me something. Every mistake in this journey is my responsibility. Every problem forces me to think, and every small win is something I've earned. It's exciting, it's uncomfortable, and that's exactly the kind of environment I'm willing to grow in. I'm not here to tell you TETR is perfect, and I'm definitely not here to convince you to copy my decision. I am here to document my journey. Because on this channel, we will figure out how businesses actually work, break down complicated ideas, theories, principles from businessmen, economists, philosophers, and tech enthusiasts into something simple, practical, and valuable for you all. Be ready to watch my journey. Peace.